You were not born into this world as a blank slate. You were born with intention. You were born with greatness embedded into your very being. Before anyone told you who you were supposed to be, before the world tried to put you in a box, before fear crept in and made you doubt yourself, you were already crafted for something extraordinary. That's not motivational fluff. That's divine truth. There's a blueprint for greatness coded into your existence, but you have to wake up to it. From the moment you took your first breath, potential was already pulsing through your veins. The way your mind works, the way your heart pulls towards something deeper, the ideas you get, the dreams you have, none of those are random. They're signals, proof that there's more inside of you than what you've allowed yourself to express. You don't need permission to rise. You already have the authority. What you need is awareness. The world will try to convince you that greatness is reserved for the few, that only the chosen, the talented, the wealthy, or the lucky get to live remarkable lives. But that's a lie told to keep you small. The truth is, greatness is not exclusive. It's not about being born into privilege. It's not about being perfect. Greatness is about purpose realized. It's about who you become when you stop playing the role that life handed you and start stepping into the role you were born for. But here's the catch. Greatness doesn't scream, it whispers. It doesn't shove itself into your lap, it waits. It waits for your yes. It waits for your consistency. It waits for you to believe more in what's inside of you than what's around you. And if you never listen, you can live your entire life surrounded by greatness, carrying it around every day and never once activated. Because greatness is not automatic, it must be awakened. The voice of greatness speaks every time you're frustrated with average. It nudges you when you're silent, in moments you were meant to speak. It haunts you when you go to sleep knowing you didn't give your all. That discomfort you feel when you're settling, that's greatness tapping you on the shoulder, reminding you that this isn't the life you were meant to accept. It's the one you're supposed to elevate. You've got to understand your gifts weren't given to you randomly. That fire in your gut, that urge to create, that desire to lead, that hunger to build, heal, write, teach, impact, that didn't come from nowhere. That was placed in you. And anything placed in you with that much intentionality deserves your full attention. You don't honor that gift by hiding it. You honor it by developing it, nurturing it, and unleashing it without apology. The tragedy is that most people spend their lives adjusting to comfort rather than rising to their calling. They dull their shine so others feel better. They shrink back because failure bruised their ego. They sit down because standing up is uncomfortable. But greatness was never about comfort. It's about calling. And calling will stretch you. It will demand growth. It will force you to confront every excuse you've ever made. It's not supposed to be easy. If it were, everyone would do it. The process of becoming who you were created to be will cost you. It will cost you your comfort, your fears, your procrastination, your distractions, your doubt. But what you gain in return is power, purpose, and peace. When you stop waiting to feel ready and start acting on who you already are, your life begins to align with that higher version of yourself that's been buried under years of hesitation. The greatness in you is not a future version. It's not 10 years from now. It's not after you get the degree or the money or the recognition. It's right now. It's who you are when you show up fully, speak with clarity, move with courage, and refuse to settle for less than what you were born for. Every moment you choose alignment over fear, obedience over excuses, and action over stagnation, you bring that greatness to the surface. You don't have to wait for someone to discover you. You don't need to be chosen. You're already chosen. You don't need the perfect conditions. You just need to decide. You are walking around with untapped power, unused ideas, unspoken truths, and unfulfilled potential. The longer you sleep on your greatness, the longer the world waits for the impact only you can make. Success is not the result of one grand gesture or a single breakthrough moment. It is the quiet product of small decisions made consistently over time. Most people miss this because they're looking for something loud, something flashy, some explosive opportunity that will change everything in an instant. But the truth is, success is built in silence. It's built in the repetitions, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the choices you make when no one is watching. That's where the real work happens. When you commit to improving just a little each day, you create momentum. Not the kind of momentum that turns heads overnight, but the kind that compounds beneath the surface until suddenly you're standing in a place you never imagined you could reach. One page a day becomes a library. One workout becomes a lifestyle. One small act of courage becomes a new identity. That's the power of consistency. That's the force behind incremental growth. People underestimate the small things. They think 5 minutes of focus doesn't matter. They think saying no to one distraction won't change much. But every time you choose discipline over comfort, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. You start building a foundation brick by brick, habit by habit, until the structure of your life is no longer weak, but solid, strong, and unshakable. You begin to trust yourself. And that self-trust is the real fuel for growth. The world is obsessed with intensity, but it's consistency that wins. Anyone can get fired up for a day, a week, or even a month, but it's the person who can stay committed after the excitement fades who sees the reward. That's what separates the successful from the stuck. The successful don't wait for motivation, they rely on rhythm. They've learned that showing up even imperfectly beats waiting to feel ready every time. You won't always feel like doing the work. You won't always see immediate results. But that's not the point. You're not doing it for the quick win. You're doing it because you understand that excellence is a system, not an event. You're building something that will last. And when you zoom out far enough, the small things reveal themselves to be the big things. The conversations you have, the way you show up to the mundane tasks. The moments you choose discipline over distraction, these are the seeds of success. There's something powerful that happens when you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small. You start to believe again. You start to feel capable again. You realize that success was never about some unattainable standard, but about daily devotion to a better version of you. That's what compounds. That's what transforms a life. Not once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, but everyday decisions. The danger is in thinking that if progress isn't obvious, it's not happening. That if you're not seeing results fast, you must be failing. But the roots grow before the fruit shows. The process happens in the dark before it becomes visible in the light. Growth is happening even when it doesn't look like it. And if you can trust that and stay consistent, you will experience results that others call sudden, but you'll know were years in the making. Think about the power of compounding interest, not just financially, but personally. One tiny investment repeated again and again turns into something massive over time. The same principle applies to your habits, your mindset, your relationships, and your goals. The people who win long-term are the ones who fall in love with the process. They don't just chase success, they cultivate it daily, intentionally, and relentlessly. It doesn't matter if your steps are small as long as you keep stepping. Progress is progress. 1 inch forward is still forward. And as those inches add up, so does your confidence, so does your capacity, so does your credibility with yourself. And before you know it, you're operating at a level that once intimidated you. You're living the kind of life that once felt out of reach. But it didn't happen all at once. It happened slowly, quietly, and consistently. You don't need a miracle to succeed. You need a method, a rhythm, a system of showing up for yourself even on the hard days, especially on the hard days. You need to honor the little efforts, the 5 extra minutes, the 1 more repetition, the 1 better decision. Because over time, those small, consistent improvements will create a legacy far greater than anything quick and temporary ever could. Compound growth is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, yet it often goes unnoticed because it works in silence. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't show dramatic results at first, but beneath the surface, it's moving, it's multiplying, it's building something that most people will never understand because they give up too soon. When you apply compound growth to your life, you tap into something that doesn't just add value, it multiplies it. In the beginning, the results seem almost too small to matter. You read a few pages, you save a few dollars, you put in a few reps, you wake up slightly earlier, and nothing feels different. That's where most people quit. Because we live in a world that wants now. It wants instant results, instant recognition, instant gratification. But compound growth doesn't care about your impatience. It only responds to your persistence. What makes compound growth so deadly to complacency is that it doesn't need big moves, it needs consistent moves. It doesn't require leaps, just steps. Every small choice you make to grow, learn, practice, or improve is a deposit. And over time, those deposits turn into a flood of wisdom, a flood of strength, a flood of opportunity. And once that flood hits, everyone else will call it overnight success, but you'll know it came from days, weeks, and years of stacking bricks. There's a tipping point that happens with compound growth. It starts slow, painfully slow, but then as the curve begins to bend, your results start to expand exponentially. What used to take 10 days now takes 1. What used to feel difficult now feels natural. You've built momentum. You've built systems. You've become a person with capacity. And the more you grow, the more you're able to handle. That's the beauty of it. You grow into someone who can contain and sustain success. Apply this principle to your mindset and you become unshakable. Apply it to your finances and you build wealth. Apply it to your relationships and you build legacy. Compound growth works wherever you work it. The only question is, are you patient enough to let it work? Because it won't show results in a week. It may not even show results in a month. But if you keep investing, the results will come back multiplied. The most dangerous lie we believe is that small efforts don't matter. That if it's not big, it's not worth it. But that lie kills momentum, it kills growth before it ever has a chance to bloom. The truth is, every expert started as a beginner. Every leader started as a student. Every wealthy person started with one disciplined decision. Compound growth turns those beginnings into breakthroughs. It's not about working harder in bursts. It's about working smarter in rhythms. Consistency over intensity. Steady growth over short-lived hype. You don't need to conquer the mountain in a day. You need to climb every day, one step then another. And the more you climb, the more your skill compounds, your wisdom compounds, your faith compounds, your influence compounds. And what used to be a struggle becomes second nature. When you understand compound growth, you stop measuring progress by the day and start measuring by the decade. You stop asking, how fast can I get there, and start asking, how strong can I become along the way? You're not just chasing results anymore, you're becoming the kind of person who can carry those results. The process transforms you while it builds your outcomes. Most people miss this because they stop digging right before they strike gold. They walk away because they didn't see quick rewards. But those who stay, those who keep building, keep growing, keep refining, they unlock a life most people only dream about. And they do it not by being extraordinary, but by being consistent. Compound growth is not about perfection, it's about devotion. It's about trusting that small seeds, when planted and watered over time, produce a harvest that far outweighs the effort it took to plant them. You don't always see what's happening underground, but trust it's working, it's moving. And one day, it will show. Not all at once, but all of a sudden. There comes a point in life where you must choose between what feels good and what builds you. That moment is where your destiny is shaped. The world tells you to chase comfort, to do what's easy, what's familiar, what doesn't require much from you. But comfort never creates character. It never develops discipline. It never produces strength. What shapes you, what refines you, what turns you into the person you were designed to be is challenge, not convenience. Character is forged in the fires of resistance. It's built when you do the thing you don't feel like doing. When you wake up early, even when you're tired. When you keep your word, even when it costs you. When you stay focused, when everything in you wants to scroll, escape, or shrink. That's where your foundation is laid. And every time you choose growth over ease, you become someone the world can't shake. Comfort is a trap disguised as peace. It keeps you stuck in cycles that look safe but slowly erode your potential. You may not feel the effects right away, but over time, the price of comfort is regret. The price of avoiding the hard thing is missing the right thing. You don't grow by staying the same. You grow by stretching, by wrestling, by doing the uncomfortable work that most people avoid. Character is what holds you when the spotlight fades. It's what guides your decisions when nobody's watching. It's what keeps you grounded when opportunities come and pressure rises. Comfort doesn't prepare you for that. Comfort makes you soft. It convinces you that you're fine where you are, even when deep down you know you're made for more. But character demands more. Character tells you the truth, even when it hurts. Every time you compromise for the sake of comfort, you reinforce weakness. You train yourself to choose the easy road. And the easy road might feel good today, but it costs you tomorrow. It costs you credibility. It costs you strength. It costs you purpose. But when you choose character, when you do what's right, not just what's easy, you invest in a version of yourself that can't be bought, broken, or swayed. There's power in doing what's hard. There's power in making sacrifices for your future self. There's power in enduring now so you can reign later. People who build character live with a different posture. They walk with confidence, not because everything is easy, but because they've been tested and proven. They've built something on the inside that no storm can destroy. Character is saying no to the shortcuts. It's saying yes to the process. It's doing the reps when no one applauds. It's staying humble when you win and staying hopeful when you lose. Comfort wants to skip the middle. It wants to rush to the reward. But character understands that what happens in the process is the reward. The process is where you become solid, where you become real, where you become capable of sustaining what you're asking for. Your breakthrough is tied to your willingness to be uncomfortable, to confront your own habits, to outgrow your own excuses, to face the pain of discipline instead of settling for the pain of regret. That kind of living isn't popular, but it's powerful, because the people who choose character over comfort become the ones who lead, influence, and shift atmospheres. People often ask, what's the key to success? Expecting a strategy, a formula, a hack. But the key is character, because talent can open a door, but only character can keep it open. Charisma might get you the opportunity, but character determines if you're ready for it. The world has plenty of talented people. It's looking for stable people, people with integrity, people who don't fold under pressure, people who do what's right even when it's hard. And that kind of person is not built in comfort. They're built in the moments when they could have quit, but didn't. When they could have compromised, but stayed true. When they could have chosen ease, but chose excellence. That's where strength is formed. That's where trust is earned. That's where legacy is written. The life you will live tomorrow is being shaped by the decisions you make today. Every thought you entertain, every habit you practice, every word you speak, it all plays a part in who you are becoming. The future